What is going on YouTube? Today I'm going to be installing FSR 4 with Optiscaler on Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade. I couldn't find any YouTube tutorials for this on, well, YouTube, especially for Linux, which is what I'm on. So I figured I'd make one using the steps I've learned from both the official guide, or not official guides, but the guides on YouTube that exist for Windows, and some tips from the Discord on the Optiscaler Discord. So the first thing you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to download all of the mods in the links in the description below. Some are from Nexus mods, some are from Discord, some are from Reddit, and others are from GitHub. But basically what you want to do is you want to download all these and put them in a folder where you can then extract them into subfolders so that you don't get them confused. Make sure they're empty when you make the folders, when you use the folders, and that they only have the mods from each respective mod. Anyways, the first one we're gonna install is this Luma mod right here, which enables FSR 3 and DLSS on the dynamic resolution scaling for the game. And what you're gonna want to do after that is you're gonna wanna copy these. Then after that, I'll explain this later, but basically the thing you want to do first is you want to rename DXGI into Reshade64. Then you want to get the hook mod, copy the DLL. You don't need the Engine.ini, but we'll cover it later. And after that, you want to get this Discord version of the the Optiscaler mod. And then copy these files right here, nothing else, because you don't need anything else from this. I can even upload this if I find that I can even upload this version of Optiscaler if you don't want to join the Discord, if I find that the Optiscaler Discord allows it. Anyways, once that's done, you want to rename this to WinMM, and I'll explain this later. And once that's done, you're for the most part set up. But what you want to do is you want to open up this file right here, this file right here, this Optiscaler.ini, in an editor of your choice. Now I use Vim, so I'm gonna do it in the terminal, but you can just use whatever you use already on Linux. It doesn't really matter as long as you can edit the file. Anyways, you want to set this DXGI variable to false, and then you want to set this load reshade variable to true. Make sure you ls so that you can check all the files are good. This is a very standard way to check if you've installed them properly. Make sure your directory looks like this, except for the Steam data folder. That's just for the achievements that I've already gotten for the game. If you don't have it, it's fine, basically. Anyways, once you're done with that, you can exit out of this and then open up your launcher. I'm using Focus Launcher for this since I'm running it outside of Steam, and it's very useful for that purpose. Now you can exit out of these. You can install it from FlatHub or from your native, package manager, assuming that it has it. It has it on Arch through the AUR, but not, I think, on other places. But anyways, once you're done with that, you want to go. Oh, and assuming that it's on Arch, you can use this on your Steam Deck, the Focus Launcher. Once you're done with that, you can open up the game profile on the launcher, and then set these launch arguments. Or if on Steam, these would be the same, except for the %command% is missing on this. If you're on Steam, add it to the end of this. But you can see here I've set the primary monitor. Ignore that if you're using only one monitor, and if you have a different monitor name for your monitor. Anyways, the overrides you want to set X input. You want to set WinMM. Those only. The others are just there because I was testing and experimenting with different variables for different values for the 1DL overrides variable. Anyways, enable Wayland support if you want, and if you need the HDR on Wayland. If you're on Wayland, most people probably are already if they're new to Linux, especially on the Steam Deck. But enable those if you want. If not, or if you're on Xorg, then don't. Definitely don't if you're on Xorg, because they won't be able to be. They won't. They're not really useful there because you're not running in Wayland, and Wayland doesn't have, or Xorg doesn't have HDR, and it obviously doesn't have Wayland support. Anyways, add this too, this DX11, so that it runs in DirectX 11 mode. I'll just stop this because I was running it earlier. Anyways, launch it. I'm using the GE Proton, I think, on this, so launch it with that. If you want like one-to-one following of these steps, it should be installed by default. It should be installed by Focus Launcher, since it's the default for that. Anyways, once you're in the game, go into here, set it to FSR4, change the upscaler, and great, you're now running FSR4 with your game. Now there are some extra steps which I will cover here, but we've basically done most of the work already for this game. Now one of the steps is the HDR mode, which you can enable for better colors in this game, since it will look weird if you're using it on SDR mode. But the disadvantage with HDR mode in this game with these mods on is that it will sometimes crash because DirectX 11 is not supposed to have HDR, and you're basically running an HDR feature under all of these mods already. In addition to the FSR with the DirectX 12 upscaler that you're running. I think that's why it crashes. Like, it seems to be the cause, because when I run it without HDR mode on, it doesn't crash. Anyways, you can quit the game for now, and then this is an optional step, but you can do it yourself if you want some tweaking to your game's graphics done manually, that is. You can go into the game, you can go into your prefixes user folder, and then into the My Documents, My Games, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Saved Config, Windows No Editor, which you're going to create, and then create this file with these contents, Engine.ini with this, all of this, and then what you're going to want to do is you want to do chmod -w Engine.ini, so that it becomes a read-only file, and it won't be edited at all once you're done with this. I've set these variables to 100 so that it will do native resolution and aliasing, but you can set them to whatever. For example, if you want to do a quality profile after you've before you remove write permissions on this file, you can actually set it to 80 for a quality profile setting, but I've just set them to 100 for native anti-aliasing. And if you want, you can add hypothetically the right permissions back to the file, so it's no longer read-only. And then close this, run this again, just to exhibit for exemplary purposes what the game is like. Then boot into the game after this. Let me just change my controller, since this is like not working well on my GameSir controller here on Linux. Anyways, just continue, yes, please. And I where we left off. As you can see, the game looks amazing with these settings on, but I can do this real quickly. It's very bright, but this is what it is.
Oh yeah, あんたがクラウドだね。私は大家のマーレ。で、一昨日来たんだって。それまでは上かい。
いろいろだ。
わけありか。あ、ここに流れ着くのはみんなそうさね。困ったことがあったら何でも相談しな。ティファのこともね。
ティファがどうしたんだ？